So with that, let's move ahead.
All right, thanks, Daryl. That was really good. Just want to keep in mind that all those awesome features that you were showing for DeveloperWorks are available when you have your own instance of Connections. So right now I'm going to tell you a little bit more about how GBS is using Connections. We have two instances that we manage, and one is externally facing and public, and that's called Bleed Yellow. The other is internal and for employees only. Bleed Yellow came to GBS through one of our acquisitions of Lotus 911 and serves as a meeting place for the Lotus community. In the following slides, I'll tell you a little bit more about some of the features of Bleed Yellow, but pretty much goes along with, it has the same features of DeveloperWorks with the wikis and the blogs. Our internal Connections is used by many of the employees here at GBS. We're a very spread out company, and we have offices all around the world. In North America, we have employees in Boston, New York, Atlanta, Canada, and our employees who work from home. And in Europe, we have employees and offices in Germany, Denmark, London, and Manchester. So keeping everyone on the same page and up to date with our wide range of products and services can be quite a task. And Connections allows all employees to share that information and collaborate to ensure everyone has a proper understanding of our product mix so they know where everything is at the current time. So on the next slide, there is a screenshot of our Bleed Yellow public communities listing. And so this is on our public instance of Connections, which is Bleed Yellow. And as you can see, some of the communities here are larger than others, and some are more active. They're communities from all around the world where like-minded Lotus experts and users can share knowledge and experiences to learn from one another. Daryl gave a great explanation of what the communities and groups are, so I'm going to move on to the next slide so we don't bore you guys with some more of the same stuff. And so this is a screenshot of our Bleed Yellow blogs, which is very similar to the DeveloperWorks blogs. And these blogs are written by community members, many of whom are the top knowledge sources in their fields. Here they post content that they think is useful to the rest of the Bleed Yellow and Lotus community. So without telling you guys the features of the blog like Daryl did, I'm going to pass the presentation back over to Dawn. So Dawn?
Helps unmute myself. Thanks, Adam. So Daryl and Adam both gave us some great examples of how both IBM and GBS are using Connections. So I don't want to be too repetitive here, but I just want to just drive home the idea of what you can use Connections for. So let's take a look at, how you can find the right people within your organization. You don't want to spend too much time searching for someone. I know here in GBS, because we are so diverse and cover such a wide geography, that it can be hard to figure out who the right person is to ask for a specific question or find a knowledge expert. So Connections is very useful in finding people and saving time, figuring out whose expertise lies where. You can uncover unknown sources, people, like I said earlier, that you may never even have known had an expertise in a specific field, and or maybe newcomers to the organization that you may not even realize came on board because of such a wide geography like here at GBS. Some of the other things, it's easy to find reporting information on your colleagues. As Adam mentioned when he came on board, there's an organizational structural chart within Connections, so you could see who reports to whom. So if you're not getting feedback that you need in a timely manner, you can escalate things up the ladder by seeing who reports to whom and what the organizational hierarchy is within your organization, as well as being able to easily identify people that are associated with different things that are going on within the Connections community. So whether it's finding out more about a person who posted a particular document or who's conducting a given activity, or just, as I mentioned, someone who has knowledge or expertise in a specific skill set that you're looking for. Finding the right people on Connections is very, very easy. You can tag your profiles with your different levels of expertise, and then it's very easy to search the Connections, and it finds those tags and renders you a list of people who have that particular expertise in mind. So it makes it very, very easy to identify sources and solve problems quickly. I won't reiterate what you're seeing on your screen already, so I'll just move on to great ways to share your files. A lot of people fall into that rut of, emailing your document around the world and CCing everybody and their uncle in regards to what's going on with that documentation, whether it be looking for approval or a review process or just the ability to have to share that information across a wide variety of people. So with Connections, you don't have to fall into that email trap. You can post it on Connections, share the link, have people go and find it. People who you might not even know are looking for the document can easily find that document within the file share within Connections. So there's a lot of great ways that you can share your files and make it more valuable for people, including, as I mentioned earlier, the ability to track older versions of a file. So if you're looking for, hey, we updated this file, but we took out something that was really important, and I would like to add it back in, instead of that file being completely gone, you can just go back to that older version, grab that information, and put it into the newer document. So it makes document management a lot easier as well. So what are the best ways to share your files within Connections, or the reasons for sharing those files in Connections would be, reducing your workload, again, being able to tag those files, having one master copy of a file instead of having to have, how many people have this locally and do they get the latest version and all that kind of stuff. Everything's located in one file. You could go back through the history of that file, but the most common and up-to-date file is always at the top. And it's always the first thing people come across when they're searching for the information that they're looking for. Being able to follow experts using the blogs and some of their content. One of the things that Daryl had mentioned was the fact that, Connections kind of tiers it so everything can be related to something else. So if you create a community, all of the blogs or files that you put within that community all tie back to that community. So it makes finding information so much easier. If I'm a member of this community and I know I'm looking for information on Same Time, for example, I go to the Same Time community, all the information is there. I can find all the documents associated, all the activities associated with it, all in one place. How can you create content faster? Simply by distributing it into one spot, so not having to, as Daryl mentioned earlier, maybe email that document to someone and then realize, oh, I forgot to include, Bob or Joe on that email, and now forwarding that email on again. Being able to put everything in one spot and have that one spot known to the entire organization of this is where I go to find that information makes things very, very useful. In addition to that, it also makes it great for, keeping content around longer. So if someone, retires out of your company, a lot of times his knowledge and his expertise will retire with him, whereas if he had a blog or files posted in a wiki or something like that on Connections, that information will be there forever and always able for people to find and access and utilize long after that employee moves on. So again, just a quick review of how you can create content faster. Again, I don't want to overstate the wheel here, so I'll just let you guys read through these and move through the content as quickly as I can. And pass the ball back over to, I think,
To Adam.
Adam. Yeah.
Thanks, Don. I'm sure everyone just learned a ton of stuff. So this slide and the next one have some pretty exciting stuff in them. So what you see here is how diverse and usable IBM Connections actually is. Out of the box, it integrates with most, if not all, of IBM's other software. And believe it or not, it also integrates seamlessly with Microsoft Office and Exchange. And on top of that, many business partners have developed plugins for Connections that further extend its capabilities. And if that's not enough, many of the features of Connections are accessible through an API. So your company could develop custom plugins and custom integrations for your company. This accessibility and extensibility allows companies to leverage their existing infrastructure and add value by making it social. So on the next slide, well, as I mentioned on the previous slide, Connections is compatible with many things. There are connectors available for Lotus Notes, Outlook, Microsoft Office, Lotus Symphony, and Same Time. And these connectors allow seamless integration with the software, with IBM Connections. So for example, if you're in Microsoft Word, you can save a file directly up to a Connections community. So without, or now I'm going to pass it over to Daryl, who's going to talk to you a little bit about being mobile with Connections. Daryl?
Sure. Thanks, Adam. And I think probably is no surprise to anybody out there in terms of the way in which mobile's changing our lives, our digital lives particularly, and the way in which we're now becoming more familiar, more accustomed to accessing data, information, the systems that we use through any device wherever we are, whether it's through a smartphone, whether it's on a tablet, whether it's could well still be on desktop or laptop environment, but now there's a growing pressure to make sure that we have the information, that information's available wherever we want it, and Connections are no exception to that in terms of having to have a plan to move into the mobile space. It's as with many products and many technologies that are developing at the moment. I'm sure you'll see that how these plans are rapidly evolving, and I can say for ourselves, there is already, at this point in time, there's a number of ways of letting you use Connections and access Connections through a mobile device. And Connections itself, it supports, you can see here the platforms it supports, Apple's iOS, Android, BlackBerry, Nokia, and RIM's Playbook. I can say that some breaking news as of the end of August, we announced updates to iOS, Android, and BlackBerry, taking the apps that we have available for Connections on those platforms a step further and adding a lot more functionality to those. So exciting movement that we're seeing in terms of the ability to share information, whether it's those same blogs, wikis, etc., to be able to allow people to access those when they may be waiting for a flight or waiting for a sandwich. So I think it's exciting in terms of that, what we're seeing there in terms of development, and I'm sure that's an area that's going to continue to grow. So I'll hand it back over to, I believe it's Dawn.
Thanks, Daryl. So just to wrap up everything that we've been talking about today, Connections is very powerful. It allows people to easily connect with employees, partners, and customers to manage your business, whether it be a regular business, a government agency, an educational institution, or anything else. It just makes it able for you to easily increase your efficiency and your effectiveness of your business processes. So with that being said, I will allow everyone to open up to questions and answers. You can find more information on Lotus Connections on the IBM website, and there's a link here in our presentation for that. GBS is a reseller of the Lotus brand, so we can get you hooked up with an instance of Connections, help you get it installed and up and running in your environment. If you're interested, just give us a shout. You can either give us a call on our 800 number, and you can find that on our website at www.gbs.com, or you could shoot us over an email at info@gbs.com. That's info@gbs.com. Or if you want to give it a try and see what the power of Connections for yourself, you can become a member of our public-facing communities, either the IBM or the GBS, so either Bleed Yellow or DeveloperWorks or both, and give it a little test drive.
And that concludes this edition of Group Talk. Thanks for watching. To engage in conversations with us, visit twitter.com/gbsknows. To stay up to date, like us on Facebook at facebook.com/joingbs. And to watch entertaining and informative videos, visit youtube.com/gbsknows. And don't forget, visit our website and send us an email at gbs.com and info@gbs.com. Thanks again.